The parable of the shrewd steward. In the last week at Pella, on one evening, Simon Zelotes, prompted by one of Jesus' statements, said, "Master, what did you mean today when you said that many children of the world, in some ways, are wiser than the children of the kingdom because they manage their money wisely?" Jesus responded, "Some of us, before entering the kingdom, were very clever in business. Although profit-making was sometimes dishonest, they were nevertheless prudent in securing their financial future. This allowed them to lead a secure life and provide a future for their children. In a sense, you should also arrange your life in the kingdom in this way. Actively do good on earth now, for it will bring joy to your soul here on earth, and you will gather treasures in heaven. When you served yourself, you were diligent in gathering material wealth. Why then would you show less diligence in winning souls for the kingdom, now that you serve the brotherhood of mankind and are stewards on earth for God? You can all learn a lesson from the story of a certain rich man who had a clever but unjust steward. This steward not only pressured his master's clients for his own selfish gain but also squandered much of his master's money. When all this finally came to his master's attention, he called his steward to him, asked what these rumors meant, and demanded that he give an immediate account of his actions. This unfaithful steward began to think to himself, "What shall I do now that I am about to be fired? I do not have the strength to do manual labor, and I am ashamed to beg. But I must ensure that I am loved by my existing network, for when I am removed from my position, if I have warm contacts with all those who do business with my master, it should not be too difficult to find a new job." So he called each of his master's debtors and said to the first, "How much do you owe my master?" He replied, 100 measures of oil. Then the steward said, "Take the bill, sit down quickly, and make it 50. Then he said to another debtor, "How much do you owe?" And he replied, 100 measures of wheat. Again, the steward said, "Take your bill and make it 80. And so he dealt with many other debtors. In this way, this dishonest steward tried to make friends for himself. Even his master was forced to admit, after discovering everything, that his unfaithful steward had at least shown shrewdness in the way he had tried to make provisions for after his inevitable dismissal. In such a manner, the sons of the world sometimes show more wisdom in making their provisions for the future than the children of light do. To anyone who desires to gather treasures in heaven, I say, learn from those who are friends of mammon, and arrange your life likewise so that you form eternal friendships with the forces of righteousness, so that when all earthly things fail you, you will be joyfully received into the eternal dwellings. I assure you that whoever is faithful in little will also be faithful in much, while whoever is dishonest in little will also be dishonest in much. If you have not shown foresight and integrity concerning the matters of this world, how can you expect to be faithful and wise when entrusted with the stewardship of the spiritual riches of the heavenly kingdom? If you have not been good stewards or trustworthy bankers, if you have not been faithful with what belongs to another, who will be so foolish as to trust you with a great treasure? And again I declare that no one can serve two masters. Either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one master and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and mammon. When the Pharisees present heard this, they began to scoff and sneer, as they were very fond of accumulating wealth. These hostile listeners tried to engage Jesus in a futile discussion, but he refused to debate with them. When the Pharisees began to argue among themselves, their loudness attracted a large number of people camping nearby, and when these also began to argue with each other, Jesus withdrew and went to his tent to sleep.